different signature, different shade of blue. Whispers all around, said, we all know it's you. Chameleon smile with an innocent glow. The facade behind the door swung open slow. She never heard the word no for long. Deceit and spite kept carrying on. Mama made the phone calls, brother tried to keep it clean, polished every headline till it barely could be seen. Silk gloves hiding fingerprints nobody could ignore. Truth kept knocking behind the locked door. New hair, new name, same old game, changing every picture but the story stays the same. Diamonds in the daylight, secrets after dark, trying to outrun the echo of a single spark. She's living like a queen, soon to be on the lam. She can't pretend all she wants, but she don't give a damn. You can paint the skyline, rewrite every frame, but you can't fool forever with new hair, new name. She could fool the room with a sideways glance, turn a business meeting into a slow dance. Every favor will come with a price. The ones who protected her, they rolled the dice. One by one they have fallen, locked up in a cell. Who will come to save her? Will they ever tell? Shaking her hair, changing her name. She cannot outrun justice, she's part of the chain. Gold in her ears, pearls on her neck, but deep down she's a wreck. Everything she wanted did not come for free. She ruined so many lives, even her own family. Justice walks slowly, gossip runs fast. Some stories fade, but some outlast. Mirrors don't forget what's behind the disguise, even if colored contacts tell beautiful lies. Oh, new hair, new name, same old shame, running from the smoke but remembering the blame. Fundraisers and parties can't erase the night. Truth keeps shining through even in the dimmest light. Fortunes may protect you for a little while. She may be dressed up in a perfect smile. Curtains always fall at the end of every play. You can change your look, but the truth won't fade away. She changed her face, the world came to see, but she never could change his memory.
Good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys can hear me. Just let me know if you guys can hear me. Let's see. I see Mia Wallace is here. Debbie Martin, New York Patriot lady. Susan. Do I have sound? Ruth Ann is here. Okay, great. All right, as all of you know, today is the 12th anniversary of the shooting of Dan Markel in Tallahassee, Florida, in his garage. He was murdered by hired hitman of the Adelson family. And today we're going to go over the timeline. So I'm going to get started. Let me make sure I'm sharing this. Can you guys see that? Wait, hang on. Let me make it bigger. Sorry. Okay. I hope you guys can see that. Good morning, Cat Ride. Thank you for being here. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry. So I'm going to start with Wendi filing the divorce because I think that kind of got a lot of things in motion, if you will. And I believe, okay, so I don't know how long this is going to take. I really don't want to be on for forever. So I might just go up until like Charlie's conviction and then maybe do a follow-up with the rest. Hey, Raven, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we're going to start with September 10th of 2012. Wendi files for divorce. Okay, and then on the 17th, Wendi files her parenting certificate that is required by Florida law whenever you are getting a divorce and you have children in common. But Wendi's parenting certificate is dated July 27th of 2012, meaning she basically completed the parenting class about 3 months before she's filing for divorce. Also in this motion on the 17th, Wendi says that she wants a majority of the time with the children. October 4th, Dan files an answer to the dissolution of marriage petition, and he requests equal time with the children. On December 5th of 2012, Wendi files a motion answering Dan's motion from October 4th. January 14th of 2013, Wendi files an amended divorce petition, and this is when relocation request is added for the first time. On January 22nd of 2013, the family law money affidavit is filed. This means that basically both sides has to file their complete financials and disclose everything. And it doesn't matter where the money came from on either side. They have to basically tell the courts how much money they have, each of them. On February 20th of 2013, Dan files a response to Wendi's amended divorce petition, and he's seeking sole parental custody of the children at this time. On May 2nd of 2013, Dan files a lot of paperwork and additional information to support his objection to Wendi's initial relocation petition. On May 3rd, Donna Adelson starts with the emails. And when I say starts with the emails, right, we know that this is kind of the first of many in regards to this divorce. This is also when Donna puts in that email, like relocation is non-negotiable. Sorry, this is a little typo. On May 5th and May 6th, Dan files two different motions, like he files one on the 5th and one on the 6th. And he's filing more motions to enforce the agreed upon parenting plan that they've had thus far. And then he also discusses like Skype issues. He doesn't know where the kids are all the time. Both of these motions are extremely lengthy. If you guys want to know every nook and cranny about these motions, you can look in. I think the best place to find it, I think, would be probably Katie Magbanua's appeal paperwork. On June 13th of 2013, Wendi files an amended relocation petition. And then on June 14th, the next day of 2013, Dan files his reply to Wendi's amended relocation petition. Okay. On June 20th, just 1 week after Wendi files this, Judge Barbara Hobbs, that's the person who was overseeing the divorce, she denies the relocation at a hearing on June 30th. Well, and June 20th is when the order is put into place. But they had a hearing on June 18th. And at that time, the judge denies it. Wendi stipulates to the relocation denial, right? So relocation has been denied with prejudice, meaning you cannot be revisiting it. And Wendi does not tell Donna and Harvey about relocation no longer being an option at all. The court sets an agreed temporary parenting schedule through the final hearing of when the divorce will be final. So right now it's June. In a second, we'll find out that the divorce is final in literally like a month and 10 days. In this order on June 20th, it also includes an agreement that Dan and Wendi shall make good faith efforts to facilitate daily phone calls with the children when the other one has the children, and also Skype call every 4 days between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. On June 25th of 2013, Donna emails Wendi the plan of action. In this email, Donna tells Wendi to tell Dan that she's converting the children to Christianity. Donna says she and Harvey have changed their lives this year to support and assist Wendi, right? It's so dramatic. Charlie has had loss because the office business is strained because Donna and Harvey have been helping Wendi so much, right? It's all about it's all about the Miami Adelson family. That's what this email is about. I'm going to pause real quick and make sure that I'm seeing. Hey, Andrew, good to see you. Hey, Sidebar Snoop. I'm going to answer some questions. Yes, Raven, this is a timeline that I put together through all of my notes. Okay, let's see what Sidebar Snoop is asking. Wasn't the January 22nd, 2013 date listed as the date for the beginning of an investigation? I feel like something came up in a live chat where we were wondering what was happening with Wendi. January 2013. Well, possibly. Well, I don't know if I would call it an investigation, but I do think at this point in time, like Dan is looking into all of her financials. So I don't know if that's what was meant by an investigation. Hey, Andrew, I said hello. Hi, Beach Chillin'. Are we making editing suggestions? I think there was something relevant about Puerto Rico in the spring of I think you mean 2013, maybe the first hit planning. I believe that the Puerto Rico trip happened in March of 2013 or possibly May of 2013. And yes, you guys can make edit suggestions, but just maybe email me them or put something specific in in the chat. Like if you guys, yeah, she said that she didn't remember that trip, but remember also on during Donna's trial when Jackie Fulford's on the stand, she's asking Wendi about that Puerto Rico trip. And this is when Wendi is dating Miguel. But Wendi is telling family court that she's not dating anyone at all. And Jeffrey Lacasse talks about how at some point in time, Wendi said that she had lied in a deposition during her divorce. And this is what they're speaking about because she actually was dating. I just don't remember if it was May or March. So if someone knows definitively if it was May or March, just let me know. Okay. Debbie Martin says that's the trip she took with the guy. Yes, Miguel Edmondson, that she was with at the time. I have a screenshot of the conference. Great. If you could, if you could just let me know. Oh, okay. Thank you. Beach Chillin says, really? Yeah, there was something about that trip. The way Fulford brought it up gave me the mother guilt trip vibes. Yeah, I think that I think what Jackie Fulford was hinting at is that she knows that Wendi lied in a deposition during her divorce, which is what Jeffrey had said that Wendi had told him. So yeah, I think it was kind of one of Jackie Fulford's gotcha moments. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Mia. Appreciate that. And hey, Leslie, I'm sorry. Did I not say hi? Leslie B. Hey, Leslie. Okay. Debbie says she'll send it. Okay. Does anyone know if there's a compilation of all the verified 100% proven lies that Wendi has been caught in? Listed them all in one place. If not, maybe we can compile one. That would be a good idea. Yeah. Debbie Martin says, Mia, that's a homework assignment for you. Okay, we're going to get back. And thanks everyone for being here. Okay, so we just talked about the June 20th, okay? Now I'm sorry, we talked about the June 25th email from Donna to Wendi about the plan of action. On June 27th of 2013, Donna emails Wendi again about the plan of action. Donna discusses in this email how the judge may react to the plan. She reminds Wendi that the plan is just an act, and she like bold, underlines it. And okay, I'm back. I don't know why. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm back. I don't know why my headphone just powered off. That is really gonna make me mad. uh Let me make sure you guys can hear me again. I'm sorry. Yeah, when my headphones powers off, it's going to be like you're going to hear like crazy noise because that's when my laptop mic is trying to work. So, hopefully I'm back. kind of want to make sure before I continue. Okay. So the legal conference was in April of 2013. Okay, thank you, Leslie. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Debbie, I understand 100%. I'll like find a random notebook and there'll be like 2 or 3 pages of Dan Markel notes in it. I'm like, where did this come from? It's because I couldn't find, I guess, my main notebook at the time. And now I have a second notebook going. So I am back with audio, everyone. Okay. I'm assuming I am. Okay. So also in this email, this is when Donna is talking about Dan's religious influence on the children, and then this is the first time that she mentions, possibly hiring an attorney for the $1 million bribe. And it's, a third. Wendi is a third, Charlie's a third, Donna's a third. Donna and Harvey are a third. On June 30th of 2013, this is when Wendi and Dan, they sign their marital settlement agreement. The divorce is basically finalized on the 30th, and then the order is signed the next day on the 31st. So divorce is granted and the order is signed on the 31st. Now we're going to go into post-divorce. September of 2023, Jeffrey Lacasse and Wendi meet. They're introduced by Jeffrey's friend named Stephen Tripodi. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, exactly, Mia. This is when Wendi testifies like she wasn't even a part of it, which makes no sense at all. But it's in an email. Or I guess Donna's plan was for Wendi to actually be a third of it. But very odd. Okay, October 31st of 2013, we've all discussed or talked about how this is a big date. Wendi files the motion to enforce the MSA and for Dan to show cause why he should not be held in contempt of court. Wendi is wanting $50,000 of the $120,000 that Dan owes her for the house. Also on this date, Charlie and Katie Magbanua go to the Halloween party at Lincoln Road, and this is when Charlie asks Katie, do you know someone who can harm someone? And we've discussed all over the channels, and when I was on with Patty recently and we were watching Katie's first proffer again, like Charlie had to have been discussing with Katie in the weeks prior while they were dating or hanging out or whatever you want to call it. He had to have been talking to her, because you don't just all of a sudden, no, hang on. Sorry, something just happened. Okay, sorry. You don't just all of a sudden ask the girl that you're dating, like, do you know someone who can harm someone? And then we also know within 4 days of this date, this is a Thursday, by Monday, Katie is depositing cash because she's already getting paid by Charlie. Also, on October 31st of 2013, Wendi backs out of the contract to purchase the home in Summerbrook here in Tallahassee. Okay. Dan also texts Donna photos of the boys in costumes. I have seen those photos. I don't know where I saw them at or who I got the information from. I almost kind of want to delete that from here, but I mean, I do believe it exists. I just cannot remember where I learned that from. And if Mia is in the chat, she actually might know because I don't know. Maybe I'll ask Mia. Mia, have you seen those pictures? Okay. I do have, hold on real quick. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. I took the dogs on a walk and everything this morning, trying to get them to calm down. Now they're scratching. Yikes. Okay. Okay. On January 30th of 2014, this is when Dan pays Wendi $54,725.38. It's not the 50K, but it's 54K. Dan pays this, but he also files a motion at the same time saying that Wendi has breached the MSA, which is the marital settlement agreement, and it gives him the right to withhold the rest of the money. And this is in regards to Wendi hiding assets. February 4th of 2014, Wendi files a protection order against Dan because she does not want to be deposed in the divorce. Dan also files a counter motion. I'm sorry. Wendi also on this day files a motion for the money that she wants, right? The rest of the 120K. So that all happens on February 4th. So I guess she files a protection order because she doesn't want to be deposed in the divorce. And then she also files a motion about wanting the rest of her 120K. February 17th of 2014, there's a court hearing and it addresses various issues going on in all of these motions, but no orders, like nothing's ordered on this date, like no orders are entered at this hearing. February 18th of 2014, Donna emails Wendi about her case strategy. This is where Donna is telling Wendi that her attorney must depose Elvis, they call him Elvis, regarding his retirement accounts. March 7th through the 11th of 2014, this is the alternative spring break trip in Immokalee, Florida, and Jeffrey Lacasse and Wendi go to Immokalee, which is in South Florida. March 11th of 2014, this is the Yardbird dinner where Tuto, who is Sigfredo Garcia, and Tato, Luis Rivera, they are watching this dinner from the street. I'm just going to fix my capitalize Yardbird and make it one. It's a restaurant. Katie, Charlie, Wendi, and Jeffrey are all sitting on the patio having dinner. Remember, after this dinner, they go and get yogurt. And then later on this night, maybe this isn't the updated. Sorry. Later on this night, this is when Jeffrey is in the hot tub with Charlie. And that's, I believe, yeah, that's the Whale Harbor address. That's Charlie's home. And that is in Coral Springs. Or maybe Fort Lauderdale. No, that's in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, sorry. So I do want to let everyone know I had like several different documents, all of like different timelines and stuff. So I was like doing a lot of copying and pasting and putting in, and then somehow I lost one or rewrote over something that I was supposed to be adding to it. Whatever. It's fine. Okay, we are at March 11th. Let me get to the chat real quick. Okay, thank you. The photos were on Dan Markel's Facebook, which was up until last year. The photo was the day she backed out of the home. So yeah, that's Halloween. They weren't blurred out. Okay, and soon after his account was deleted. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie Martin. Because everyone was saying not to show the boys' faces. Yeah. So they were literally up there for like a decade. Hey, Melissa Navon, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Okay. Debbie Martin says, I have a photo of a Immokalee. Yeah. It's a farming. Yeah. I'm very familiar. I don't know if you guys, if you have been here or not on my previous live streams. Many, many, many years ago, literally over 25 years ago, I used to work for the Center for Civic Education and Service at FSU. I believe it's called the Center for Civic Leadership and some development. I don't even know what they changed the name to. But back then, that was where students would come and get volunteer opportunities. And alternative spring break was one of the, flyers I would help create. And because Immokalee wasn't one of the only, Immokalee was not the only alternative spring break that FSU students had the opportunity to go and volunteer. They had they had nursing and medical programs like overseas. There was several. But yeah, Immokalee is migrant farming. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, and Debbie Martin is very familiar with South Florida. See, South Florida, especially like Southeast Florida, I am not familiar with. I'm pretty much familiar with almost every other area of the state. Sorry, there's a small plane going overhead. I'm very familiar up here in North Florida. Like I know back roads, and I know this entire circuit like the back of my hand, including like back roads. I'm familiar with the Panhandle, Central Florida, Southwest Florida, at least like Tampa area, but yeah, Miami is not somewhere that I frequented. But I did grow up in Orlando, so I'm familiar with Brevard County as well. Let me see what everyone's saying. Okay, you're in California, Melissa? Okay, cool. All righty. So here we come for March 26th of 2014. This is this is dramatic. Dan files a counter motion to enforce the marital settlement agreement. This is what is called the grandma motion. He's heard Donna calling him stupid on Skype calls. Remember, the boys are telling Donna, Dad doesn't want to take, or Grandma doesn't want you to take the sunshines away. There's a lot of information in this motion. So I'm just going to kind of briefly talk about it. Hello. Oh, I am so mad right now. My headphones powered off. It's going to make me so mad. Okay. I know. Would it cut off audio? I don't know what that means. Oh, yeah. My audio cut off. Hopefully it's back on. I don't know why they're doing that. They did not do it at all the last time I used these. And then I used them again 2 days ago, trying to just make sure. Because when I neglect them, they act funky. All right. Okay, so I don't know if you guys heard, but okay, March 26th of 2014, this is the grandma motion. Okay. This motion is about parenting issues. Dan is also asking the court to hold Wendi in contempt for not following the marital settlement agreement. They call it the MSA. And he's also asking for sanctions. This motion was pending when Dan was murdered. Okay. So that's why this motion is such a big deal. This was his second counter motion to enforce the marital settlement agreement that Wendi was not abiding by. Dan cites a number of things in the MSA that Wendi is violating, including refusal to facilitate the Skyping, failure to facilitate phone calls, violation of Dan's right of first refusal to care for the boys when Wendi cannot. Dan is also not happy because usually when Wendi can't take care of the boys when she's in physical custody of them, instead of contacting Dan, she basically has Donna watching the boys. There's a whole part in here about like in the motion where Donna is the source of parental alienation efforts against Dan. Wendi, Dan also says in here, Wendi is frequently outsourcing, or Wendy's frequent outsourcing of care to Donna causes Wendi to ignore the preschool director's recommendations that the children cannot be taken out of school for such occasion, right? Like they need to be in school learning because they're about to go into kindergarten and pre-K 4. So Dan also alleges that it is like that Wendi has violated her duty to inform him regarding the location of the children when she's not in town, failure to follow up clinical recommendations of the child development professional that they've worked with, refusal to communicate and consult Dan regarding the children's education. Dan also talks about Donna disparaging him in the presence of the children. This includes the allegations of Donna saying, "Dad's stupid. Dad's trying to take her sunshines away. Grandma hates you." This is what the boys are telling Dan. Dan also heard Donna call him like stupids on the phone or on the computer when the boys were about to Skype. And then remember, this is also in court when Wendi says that Donna didn't know anything about this motion. But then remember, Georgia comes back and says, but you forwarded this motion to 12 people, including Donna, which was pretty funny as far as I'm concerned. And I was going to, I thought I had it tabbed. I was going to read the 12 people. Oh, I do have it. Hang on. Sorry, I forgot that I typed it up. But the 12 people that Donna forwards this motion to are Donna Adelson, Jeffrey Lacasse, Renee Griggs, Tova Walsh, Morgan Honeycutt, Gary Cohen, Miguel Edmondson, Trey Hubler, Robert Adelson, Rachel Frank, Jared Reich, and Mahul Patel. And when I look at this list, 1, 2, 3, possibly 4. 3 definitely are people that Jeffrey had said in his interviews that Wendi cheated on him with. Sorry, just a side note. Okay. On April 11th of 2014, Dan files his response to Wendy's motion to dismiss Dan's counter motion. On May 5th of 2014, Dan files his last pleading regarding the post-divorce issues. The parental alienation was major priority in this motion. And it was everything that we just discussed. So May 5th of 2014 is the last motion that is filed by Dan Markel before he is gunned down on July 18th of 2014. June 4th of 2014. Okay. Well, and also, wait, I guess I forgot to put in there, but okay, on June 2nd of 2014, that's when Sigfredo is actually wanting to leave Miami to go, right? He's got another person that he's coming to Tallahassee with. June 2nd, the Jorge Rivera guy gets arrested and Sigfredo cannot find him. So he has to go and recruit Luis Rivera for the hit. I know I have this in one of my other documents. I guess it didn't get copied and pasted into this one, but okay. I'm just going to put that in there because I'm going to do that. So I'll update it later. So on June 4th, that's when Sigfredo and Luis leave Miami. They leave late night. I'm sorry, they leave very early morning because by the time they're on their way up here at 9:16? Oh, I don't know how that did not get in this. Okay. At 9:16 a.m., that is when that is when Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia are pulled over. And Luis gets a speeding ticket, and that is in Alachua County, and he gets the speeding ticket from the Florida Highway Patrol. So they had to have left. They're 2 hours away or so. So I guess they left about 3-4 o'clock in the morning to head up here. June 4th of 2014 is also the same day that Wendi and Jeffrey go and have their coffee date at Red Eye Coffee. And this is when Wendi cancels the California trip that she's supposed to go with Jeffrey on to meet his parents. That trip is supposed to occur between July 11th and the 17th. On June 4th, when Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera arrive into town, this is when they rent a room at the Budget Inn on Tennessee Street, and they meet Shadrach Nobles for the first time, allegedly. Okay. Let me see what everyone's saying real quick. Hey, Callie, thanks for joining. Oh, Callie 1247 says, just think if Charlie and Donna weren't behind bars, the Adelsons would be celebrating today. Like, I cannot disagree. Hey, AA Legal Focus, Judy. Thank you for being here. Okay, I'm going to get back. Okay, on June 5th, Tuto and Tato. Remember, Tuto is Sigfredo Garcia and Tato is Luis Rivera. They scope out the home and the parks surrounding the area of Trescott. And that's Winthrop Park and then also McCord Park that is behind. Look, okay. Look, I copied it. I'm sorry. So sorry. I copied and pasted that twice. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for your patience. Okay. On June, okay, the hit does not happen. They return to Miami. And so, I also want to specify during this June trip, Sigfredo Garcia first rents a silver Nissan Altima, which looks very similar to Jeffrey Lacasse's silver Nissan Sentra. Over a decade ago, the Altima and the Sentra did not look too different or too much differently, I guess. Sigfredo gets pulled over and he knows that that's bad news. So on the 3rd of June is when he returns that silver Nissan, and then that's when they end up with a light blue Hyundai Sonata. The light blue Hyundai Sonata is the vehicle that Luis Rivera gets the ticket in on June 4th at 9:16 a.m. in Alachua County, which is the middle of the state near Gainesville. I think in Lewis's proffer, he says he got a ticket in the Prius. Like, that's not true. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Did he get a ticket in the Prius as well? But he wasn't driving the Prius during June. But the ticket in Gainesville was in the light bluish silvery colored Hyundai Sonata. Okay, on June 15th of 2014, this is the beach trip photo. This is Father's Day of 2014. This is when Katie, Wendi, and Yendra are all on the beach and the photographs are taken. They've eaten chicken sandwiches, they've drank sangria, Charlie paid for it, etc., etc. Okay, June 28th through the 29th, that is a weekend in 2014. This is when Wendi and Jeffrey are in Gainesville. Jeffrey has to be there for work and Wendi goes with him. This is also when Jeffrey confronts Wendi about cheating on him. And Jeffrey describes her as curling up in fetal position on the hotel room floor and crying. Right. They return to Tallahassee the next day. Well, that was like that happened on June 28th that night. The June 29th, they return back to Tallahassee. And I guess, I think Jeffrey said that they didn't really speak much on the way back. Also on this weekend, this is when Charlie and Katie are in Key West for their quote goodbye tour, end quote. And there's like okay, I am so sorry. My headphones are powering off and I'm kind of a little perturbed about it, but I'm going to keep going. When we're talking about the last weekend of June of 2014, there are text messages that go back and forth between Donna and Charlie, and Donna texts Charlie going, "Oh, are you eloping?" Meaning like with Katie. And then he texts back to her and it's like, "No, this is our goodbye tour, our goodbye trip." Because he knows that, well, he knows that he's hired people that are going to get it, that are going to shoot and kill Dan within 3 weeks of now, of, the end of June. And then shortly thereafter, he's, gets rid of Katie. Well, gets rid of her, meaning dating wise. But still attached to her in a lot of ways. Okay. June 30th of 2014. This is when Wendi meets Amy Adler at Dan's front door. Remember, she's scared to go to the door by herself. Harvey walks her to the door because, I guess she's, well, in my opinion, she's intimidated because Amy Adler is highly intelligent, superstar, wealthy, famous brother, etc., right? On this date, Wendi goes to Miami with the boys for almost 2 weeks. She does not return back into Tallahassee until June 11th. On June 1st of 2014, in the divorce court paperwork, this is when Judge Barbara Hobbs is excused from the case and Judge Jonathan Shostrom takes over the divorce case on June 1st of 2014. I'm sorry, July 1st of 2014. I misspoke. I apologize. July 1st through July 11th of 2014, Dan is also in New York City with Amy Adler, his girlfriend. On July 1st of 2014, this is the jet ski incident between Sigfredo Garcia, Charlie, and Katie, where Charlie and Katie are in a vehicle pulling a jet ski. Sigfredo sees them, freaks out. If you've seen Katie's proffer, she talks about that incident. Okay, late night, July 2nd of 2014 at 12:43 a.m. This is when Harvey and Charlie talk on the phone for an extended amount of time. This is right after Sigfredo had called Harvey's cell phone trying to figure out who the dentist is. And I think that Sigfredo got Harvey's cell number, by calling the Adelson Institute, and it was on the voicemail there for, to call for emergencies. But also remember, Wendi is in town at her parents' house on this date. So I don't know. Is Harvey and Charlie, like, are they the ones having this conversation? Or could it be that Charlie and Wendi are having a conversation? It's just that Wendi is on Harvey's cell phone. Because this right here is according to the cell phone records. Okay, I'm going to see what everyone's saying real quick. Someone's in the mood for paella. Okay. I'm going to keep going because I don't know how long I'll have because of this. My headphones. I'm bummed. Okay. July 11th. Also, this is so weird because they are together. Remember, on July 11th, it's when Wendi, the boys, Harvey, and Donna are traveling from South Florida back up to Tallahassee because Wendi has to be here because Dan is getting the boys to start his week of physical custody of the boys. This is Friday, July 11th. On this date, Donna emails Wendi all of the details around the Geek Squad appointment that's scheduled for July 18th with the order number, who purchased it, name, the phone number it's under, la, la, la. Wendi is back in town. But if you guys remember, when Jeffrey Lacasse is on the stand, he says that Wendi doesn't get back into town until July 13th, but we actually know that that is not true. We think that that's just what Wendi told him. So, well, she could, in my opinion, she was packing, but I think she was also trying to avoid him for a couple days. On July 12th of 2014, Wendi takes her parents to get a rental car to return to Miami. We don't know what was rented. We don't know where it was rented from. Was it a large van, a U-Haul? Are they taking things back to South Florida? We do not know. On July 13th of 2014, this is a Sunday. This is the movie and dinner date between Wendi and Jeffrey. This is when Wendi makes that $15,000 or $50,000 statement about Charlie looking into a hitman last summer, meaning in 2013. Jeffrey says it made his stomach flip. This is not the hitman and TV joke. This was something different. This is what Wendi said. Can I tell you something in confidence? July 14th of 2014. Wendi tells Jeffrey that she's locked out of her house. Jeffrey says, "Oh, I'll come over." And she's like, "No, don't worry about it." This is also then later on this evening is when they go to the yoga date. And then after the yoga date, Wendi asks Jeffrey if he's still going to Tennessee on Friday, which is the 18th. And his reply is, "It's up in the air." After Wendi gets home from this yoga date, this is when she sends Jeffrey the no contact for 1 week email. On this same night, Charlie and Katie are texting and calling each other back and forth. Katie and Sigfredo are texting each other and calling each other back and forth. Oh. Why does it say to who? Oh, Charlie leaves a 1 a.m. message to, why does that say question mark? Okay. It's all right. I think that this one, I'm sorry. Okay. It's okay. I'm going to move on. I cannot worry about it. I think that I added a whole bunch of details on one of my other documents. It might not have gotten copied and saved into this one because this document is, I believe, like 15 pages. Okay. On July 15th of 2014, the green Prius, which is called, Silver Pine Mica, is rented in South Florida. And it's rented by Luis. On July 16th of 2014, Sigfredo and Luis leave Miami and they head to Tallahassee. This is a Wednesday evening. Wendi actually has the kids on this date. Remember when... Oh, you totally missed. Oh, okay. I totally didn't put in here. Oh, geez, Luis. July 5th. Oh, July 5th is when Harvey has his birth date. I think someone talked about that. That should have triggered me. Sorry, triggered me to put it in here. I don't know why it's not in here. It's obviously in another one. Oh, okay. That's Harvey's 70th birthday. On this day, on July 5th, the next day, July 6th, that's when Wendi texts Dan, "Are you going to be in town?" Right, the 14th through the 18th. And he writes back, "Yes." And then she says, "Can I have the kiddos on the 16th, which is a Wednesday night?" And she is supposed to get the kiddos on Wednesday, the 16th already. So that's very curious. Oh, right here. Okay. Sigfredo and Luis on the 16th, they leave. Wendy's got the boys. Here's where I put that she had asked or texted him on July 6th, making sure that she could have the kids on Wednesday the 16th. This is also the same evening that Wendi and the boys avoid Dan when they see him in the window at Whole Foods, and they go to BurgerFi. I always get Smash Burger and BurgerFi mixed up. Okay, now we don't know exactly which date on that week, whether it was Tuesday or Wednesday, but Wendi has that long walk and talk with Jane McPherson about Jeffrey Lacasse and her relationship. And we believe, well, in my opinion, and in a lot of other people's opinion, this is kind of when Wendi is filling Jane's head with a lot of negative things about Jeffrey. And it's, and then the useful idiot, in my opinion, Jane, comes in handy, on Friday the 18th for Wendi at TPD. Okay, we're about to get into the 17th. Let me see what everyone's saying. If anyone has any. Mia, no, Amalia was never interviewed. I never saw anything saying that there was a Malia interviewed. I still believe that Malia is code for Garcia, in my opinion. Okay. I didn't know if you guys had any questions. Hey, John Smith, thanks for joining. You guys, I want to let y'all know John Smith was because I scheduled this over a month ago just to get it on get it on my calendar. Kind of force myself to put all this together, and you're seeing that I didn't do an excellent job, but it is what it is, whatever. But John Smith was waiting on June 18th at 9 p.m. Thank you, John. I was like, John, it's next month, hon. But no, John's been very good to me, helping me with Suno and a lot of stuff. But thank you. So I appreciate John. Okay, I'm going to get back. Here we go on the 17th. Oof. This is a big day. Tuto and Tato, they're scoping out Trescott and all the surrounding areas. This is the same day that Tuto accidentally shoots out the gas line in the Prius. They run into Shadrick again. I'm putting that in quotes because I don't know. Whatever you guys think about all of that. The fuel line's repaired on the side of the road after Sigfredo and Shadrick run up to, a local auto parts store. This is also the day that Luis says that he sees Wendi on Trescott walking. He asks Sigfredo, who is that? What's she doing up here? Okay. And I'm going to skip around for a second right here. No, this is the same date. Okay. At 8:43 a.m. And I apologize, in my past videos, I think I had jotted it down wrong, from the evidence, in my notes. I kept saying 12:43 p.m. It was 8:43 a.m. At 8:43 a.m., the Trescott Dan's home alarm goes off. Wendi gets a phone call and they leave a message. Lynn Grossman, the neighbor, gets a text. Dan gets called and a message is left with him. Okay, I apologize. Okay. According to the police report, the alarm company says that Dan called back at 8:52 a.m. and canceled the alarm. Okay. On Thursday, July 17th, we're still on the same day. Wendi claims that she went to the food trucks, right? She says that she met a friend of a friend named Malia, right? A friend of a friend. Code Garcia. That's, in my opinion, she says she spent hours there. Wendi also says that she goes to a friend's art gallery thing. That's at Nomads, just up the street. They were having an event called Bags for Hope. It was to fundraise for Big Ben Coalition, Homeless Coalition. That occurred during 5 to 8 p.m. that night. Also, on Thursday the 17th, Ryan Cox tells Isom that Wendi dropped off outgrown clothes of the boys at her home. And her home is in Midtown, which is all like in one little section. I believe Patty looked it up. It's only like a mile from Lake Ella, right? Crew de Gras, that bar, is right next to where Nomad's art gallery used to be. The Prius vehicle GPS pings at 12:26 a.m. Actually on the 18th, but remember it's late night on the 17th. Pings at Crew de Gras bar. All right. Okay. We're going to get into, we're going into the 18th. How is everybody doing? Are you guys hanging in there? Oh, I agree. Yeah, what's she doing up here? Yeah, I think that Luis thought that Wendi lived in Miami. He's like, what the heck is she doing in Tallahassee? But I think that once he sees her, because that's in the morning, I think once he sees her on Trescott or thinks he sees her and Sigfredo says that it's Wendi, he knows that Wendi is up here, meaning in Tallahassee, because later on when the fuel line gets shot out accidentally by Garcia, Shadrach Nobles testified that he heard them say, like, why don't we just call the lady? Because she's up here. So, also, I want to apologize. My headphones keep powering off. I don't know why. I don't even know if I wonder if it would work if I just plugged them like physically in, but it's okay. We're getting into things because I'm gonna stop at the conviction of Charlie. And I will update my title because I'll just do a part 2 at one point. I'll like kind of move on because we've learned so much more since November of 2023. Again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you so much. If I have missed you and I've not said hello, I apologize. Oh, JJ Ferris is here. Emily is here. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Let's see. New York Patriot Lady. Debbie Martin, Ruth Ann, Leslie B. Andrew, my email pal. Thank you, Melissa. I hope I'm not skipping anybody. John Smith. Okay. And if I've missed anyone, I apologize. But I want to kind of keep pushing through. Sidebar Snoop. Let's see what they say. I don't know. He or she. I think all of this is happening on the 17th is plenty of circumstantial evidence of agreement to get past the JOA that Georgia's worried about. Remember, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a professional YouTuber. But yeah, but also I'm not an attorney. Oh, and AA Legal Focus was here. I don't know if she's still here. I do appreciate her for being here. Oh, Carol. Good day from Australia. Thank you. What is see? IIRC did not testify about that point. He mentioned it during his police. Okay, thank you. Thank you, A. Okay, Shadrach Nobles did not testify, but when Shadrach was interviewed by the police, he mentioned that. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, let's get to July 18th. Okay. There's a lot of phone calls and emails. I'm sorry, not a lot. There are phone calls and emails between divorce attorney for Dan, Stephen Webster. Webster talked to Dan this day, and they also emailed. This is when they are discussing filing the motion to hold Wendi in contempt of court regarding the financial details, also her not following the MSA, everything that we talked about in that motion from March, and then Dan's follow-up motion in May, the very last motion that he had filed in May before he gets killed in July. They're basically getting ready to put all of that in a nice, nice little motion to be filed in family court. And I believe that they had decided that they were filing on Monday the 21st. I can't remember exactly what Webster said. I don't know if he was planning on doing it later on that afternoon or on Monday morning. Okay, someone can correct me in the chat. So this is going to be a really big deal. This is also the day that, starting early, right, Dan leaves his home. Sigfredo and Luis follow him from Trescott to Creative. They're sitting in Winthrop Park, which is right across the street from Trescott, across Benton Road. They can see when Dan's pulling out. They pull out and go behind him, follow him to Creative. Then they follow him to Premier Gym. I think it's also called Premier Fitness. They wait for him to work out, and then they follow him. Dan, on the way back to Trescott, and we're going to go over like specific times in a second. This is kind of just a little summary. Dan Markel, when he leaves the gym, he goes Thomasville Road south. I believe that he turns left on Armistead and then takes a right on Klein, and then you turn right, and then you're on Trescott, and then his house is just down the road. That's kind of like the quote-unquote shortcut from Thomasville Road to his house, where you don't have to go on Benton. But we know that Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera, they take Benton Road because the bus cam shows them at 10:51 a.m. on Thomasville Road southbound, getting into the left turn lane to turn left onto Benton Road, and then they would have turned left again right back onto Trescott. Basically, Dan arrives at his Trescott home, pulls up into the garage. He's on the phone. Luis and Sigfredo pull up behind him. Sigfredo jumps out, and then that's when the shooting happens. Sigfredo and Luis are seen at 10:55 heading northbound on another bus cam, approaching Armistead on Thomasville Road. So they're headed toward I-10. That's why I always say the middle mark between the 10:51 and the 10:55 is 10:53 a.m. And I believe that is what time Dan was shot. Okay, so that's just kind of a summary of what happened. Now we're going to go through the specific timestamps of calls and texts. That morning at 8:09 a.m., Donna calls Wendi. And on this timeline, I'm going to tell you if someone talks to each other. So this was not an answered call. At 8:09 a.m., Donna calls Wendi. At 8:11 a.m., Donna texts Wendi about the Geek Squad. At 8:20 a.m., this is when Wendi texts Charlie, "This is so sweet," and we learn later that it was a deleted message or deleted text message. At 8:50 a.m., Dan drops off the boys at Creative, and Sigfredo and Luis are following him in the Prius, and Luis is driving. At 9 a.m., approximately 9 a.m., that is when the Best Buy Geek Squad guy arrives at Wendy's rental home over on Aqua Ridge for the TV repair appointment. At 9:02 a.m., Dan calls Wendi and leaves the detailed message about everywhere he's going to be for the next couple of hours. We saw in Donna's trial, like all of the details around the first off, we got to hear his voicemail. And then also we saw the text messages back and forth with Wendi and Dan. At 9:12 a.m., Dan arrives at Premier Fitness, and Luis and Sigfredo are trailing him. No, they're not. 9:12 a.m., Charlie calls Wendi. No answer. 9:19 a.m., Wendi calls Charlie, and this is when they have the 18-minute phone call. 9:38 a.m., Charlie calls Donna. No answer. 9:58 a.m., Charlie calls Katie. They talk for 7 minutes. 10:07 a.m., Katie calls Charlie. No answer. 10:08 a.m., Katie calls Charlie. No answer. 10:09 a.m., Charlie calls Katie, and they talk for 6 minutes. At 10:32 a.m., Dan walks out of Premier Fitness or Premier Gym, where he's been working out. But Dan sits in his car for a few minutes. He's on the phone, right? He doesn't leave the parking lot of Premier until 10:38 a.m. He leaves the parking lot, and Luis and Sigfredo follow him in the Prius, and that's seen on the gym cameras, the outside gym cameras. At 10:48 a.m., Dan calls the arts and sciences teacher. That's the Stuart Schlazer gentleman. And Stuart Schlazer is actually on the phone with Dan when Dan gets shot. And I say 10:53, that's the middle mark between the two times that they're seen on the bus cam heading to the hit, heading out after the hit. Mr. Geiger, that's Mr. James Geiger, he's the neighbor. He hears the loud noises, looks out the front window, and sees the light-colored Prius. I say fleeing, but he said, pulling out and going fairly fast down Trescott toward Benton Road, which is southbound. And I'm going to say this, okay, 10:51 a.m., the Prius is seen on the bus cam heading southbound on Thomasville Road. They're getting into the left turn lane at Benton Road. 10:53, that's the middle time. I believe that's when the shooting happened. 10:55 a.m., Prius is seen again on bus cam heading northbound on Thomasville Road, and they are approaching Armistead on that bus cam footage. Okay. I'm going to take 1 second. We'll go back to 11 a.m. Let me see what everyone's saying. Hey, Cat Ride. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I don't think I would ever email. I don't think I'd ever email any of the state attorneys or anything. I wonder Wendy did tell Ison they communicated that AM but never saw it in at the trials. Yeah, I think maybe she meant via text messages. Yeah, I don't know if Georgia hears any of the songs. I'd like to. Okay, I'm back. My headphones keep powering off. Okay, I'm going to move on. We're at 11 o'clock a.m. on the 18th, July 18th. And I'm only going up to when Charlie's convicted, okay? Okay, at 11 a.m., the teacher is on the phone with Dan. He attempts to call Dan back, but the call goes straight to voicemail. At 11:01 a.m., the teacher texts Dan and asks him if he's okay. 11:02 a.m., Dan's neighbor, Mr. Geiger, he calls 911, and the teacher is calling 911 around the same time. 11:06 a.m., Donna calls Charlie, no answer. 11:22 a.m., Charlie calls Donna. They talk for 7 minutes. 11:30 a.m., Charlie calls Katie. 11:31 a.m., Charlie calls Katie again. This time they talk for 5 minutes. 11:42 a.m. Ugh, I'm so sorry. Wendi calls Dan. She knows he's not going to answer, and she leaves him a message at 11:42 a.m. 12:30 p.m. Sigfredo powers his phone back on and calls Katie. Sigfredo and Luis are in the area of Lake City, which is north of Gainesville area, and then also east, but east of Tallahassee. At 12:31 p.m., this is the approximate time that Wendi leaves Aqua Ridge home, and she's on a phone call. At 12:40 p.m., Wendi is somewhere near the Trescott home. She sees the crime scene tape and a police car blocking the road. At 12:49 p.m., this is when Wendi buys the Bullitt Rye or Bullitt Bourbon at ABC liquor store for the quote, stock the bar, end quote, party. Around 1:15, that's when Wendi arrives at Mosaic to meet Janine and Ritu for lunch. TPD, Detective Isom, he arrives there. Not going to get into all the details about how I think that they located her. Wendi is taken by TPD for an interview, and her minivan is towed. At 6:46, okay, and we also know that she's in the interview room for first she said 9 hours, then 8 hours, then 6 hours. So we know that she was there for 5 hours, right? 6:46 p.m. That is the photograph of Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia. They are at the ATM in Pembroke Pines, Florida, which is in South Florida. 7:03 p.m., Wendi calls Donna from the interview room at TPD. 7:11 p.m., Donna calls Charlie. 7:13 p.m., Charlie calls Donna. 7:29 p.m., Charlie calls Donna. 7:36 p.m., Charlie calls Katie. 10:20 p.m., Katie calls Charlie. Okay, we're about to go to the 19th. Let me take 1 second. Actually, let me take a break for a minute. I'm going to play my song. I'm going to play the song. Hey, Beach Bum. No problem. Yeah, Debbie Martin said, yeah, it took her 2.5 hours to call him back. Yeah, well, I think we know why. Okay. I'm going to take a quick break. And while I do this, I'm going to play this song that I wrote, and then I put it into Suno for I suppose it would help if I shared it. If I shared the screen. Hold on. Okay, I am going to share my song. I'm going to take a break for a second. I've been talking straight for an hour and 20 minutes. So I'm going to play this song. I wrote the lyrics, but then I plugged it into Suno and created AI. The AI music. Okay. Enjoy this song. I'm going to go get some water real quick.
She traded in the blonde blowout for a curly flame. Walked out the salon with a brand new name. Different signature, different shade of blue. Whispers all around said, we all know it's you. Chameleon smile with an innocent glow. The facade behind the door swung open slow. She never heard the word no for long. Deceit and spite kept carrying on. Mama made the phone calls, brother tried to keep it clean. Polished every headline till it barely could be seen. Silk gloves hiding fingerprints nobody could ignore. Truth kept knocking behind the locked door. New hair, new name, same old game. Changing every picture but the story stays the same. Diamonds in the daylight, secrets after dark. Trying to outrun the echo of a single spark. She's living like a queen, soon to be on the lam. She can't pretend all she wants, but she don't give a damn. You can paint the skyline, rewrite every frame, but you can't fool forever with new hair, new name. She could fool the room with a sideways glance. Turn a business meeting into a slow dance. Every favor will come with a price. The ones who protected her, they rolled the dice. One by one they have fallen, locked up in a cell. Who will come to save her? Will they ever tell? Shaking her hair, changing her name. She cannot outrun justice, she's part of the chain. Gold in her ears, pearls on her neck, but deep down she's a wreck. Everything she wanted did not come for free. She ruined so many lives, even her own family. Justice walks slowly, gossip runs fast. Some stories fade, but some outlast. Mirrors don't forget what's behind the disguise, even if colored contacts tell beautiful lies. New hair, new name, same old shame. Running from the smoke, but remembering the blame. Fundraisers and parties can't erase the night. Truth keeps shining through, even in the dimmest light. Fortunes may protect you for a little while. She may be dressed up in a perfect smile. Curtains always fall at the end of every play. You can change your look, but the truth won't fade away. She changed her face, the world came to see. But she never could change his memory.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for letting me take a little break. I appreciate it. I hope you like the song. It is not about anybody in particular. Okay. And I see that Blue River has joined. Hi, good to see you. Hi, Audrey. I see Leslie's back. I hope I'm not missing anybody new. See, Sidebar Snoop came back. Thank you guys all for being here. I'm going to keep going. If you did not hear me earlier, I am going to end up stopping at Charlie's conviction. And I hope you guys can hear me. My headphones keep powering off. Okay, they look like they're on. Okay, the 19th. This is the day after Dan's been shot. Remember, he passes away in the early morning hours of the 19th. Approximately 14 hours after he was gunned down in his garage. Okay. At 9:44 a.m., Katie's cell phone is powered back on after she spent the night at Charlie's. This was when Donna dropped off the money that night. Katie is constantly calling Sigfredo, and she cannot reach him because remember, Sigfredo is at Shrimp's house. 10:22 a.m., Katie calls Lewis. Lewis is at the barbershop. He has not gotten his haircut yet. He's at King Ray's. That's what the name of the barbershop is. Katie can't find Sigfredo. Luis ends up calling Huberto. I cannot pronounce the guy's name. I don't even know how to spell it, but he is an LK brother. He's kind of Sigfredo. I'm sorry. He's Luis's like do boy or whatever, and tells him to go get Sigfredo from Shrimp's house. 10:23 a.m. Katie calls Sigfredo. 10:25 a.m. Katie calls Lewis and they talk. This is when, he's still at the barbershop. Jessica calls Lewis during this time frame and says Katie and Sigfredo are here, are at Jessica's house. Then Luis says, keep them right there. I'll be there. She also says to Luis, they have a bag, etc. Right? We know it's the money. Luis arrives at Jessica's house at 10:30 a.m. 10:31 a.m. She calls Luis again because I guess she's in the back alleyway. It's so odd, trying to put it all together from Luis's proffer and then Katie's two proffers were, whatever. But they're all in Jessica's house. At this point in time, Luis tells us that Katie pays Luis $35,000 and Sigfredo gives him an extra $2,000. So Luis gets $37,000. Sigfredo gets $40,000. And from what Charlie says about the $138,000 that he gave Katie, that means Katie is walking away with $61,000 cash. Remember, the cash is separated into $1,000 stacks of $100 bills, and it's stapled. We later find out that some of the cash was moldy. 11:23 a.m. Katie's phone is near Yendra's house because Katie's children stayed the night with Yendra the night before, which was the 18th. 12:13 p.m. Charlie texts Katie and asks, okay, this is all code, asks, are you taking the kids to the beach? It's so nice. Katie texts Charlie back and says, it's beautiful, probably the pool. 4:54 p.m. Katie texts Charlie back and says she's back from the pool. Okay, on 7/20, 2014, this is a Sunday, Dan Markel's memorial service is held at a local synagogue in Tallahassee. And I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the name. Detective Isom speaks to Donna and Harvey at the memorial service, and they agree that they will talk to Detective Isom before they return to South Florida. On Monday, the 21st of July of 2014, on this date, Tallahassee Police Department, they create a tip line number for Dan Markel's murder. Wendi, the boys, Harvey, and Donna, they leave Tallahassee, and Wendi and the boys never return to live in Tallahassee. Detective Isom calls Wendi. She says that she has a bad connection and hangs up. Isom says about 5 minutes later, family law attorney Jimmy Judkins, who is Wendi's divorce attorney, he calls Detective Isom and says any communications with Wendi from now on need to go through him. On the 23rd of July of 2014, this is a Wednesday, this is when the green Prius, the image of the green Prius from the parking lot of Premier Gym, it's released on the local evening news. On the 31st of July in 2014, Tallahassee Police Department, they release Mr. Geiger's 911 call. In September of 2014, this is when Katie starts receiving the biweekly checks from the Adelson Institute. Katie and Charlie also break up. And sometime after that fall, June Umchenda meets Charlie for the first time at his Whale Harbor home because June is on a date with his roommate, Dr. Obed. Now we're going to move to 2015. On July 1st of 2015, so this is almost a year. Actually, it's exactly a year after Judge Sjostrom becomes the judge over the divorce file, right? But it's almost a year after Dan has been killed. Judge Sjostrom becomes the chief judge of Circuit 2 here in Florida. On July 6th of 2015, Wendi legally changes the boys' names from Markel to Adelson. On July 17th of 2015, more information about the green Prius is released on the news, and this is when they include the SunPass transponder toll road device is on the vehicle, the aftermarket black side mirror, and then also they're pointing out that the Prius is missing one of the tow hitch covers on the front of the vehicle. On September 24th of 2015, Wendi emails the Markels, and she tells them that she's changed the children's last name to Adelson to protect them from media. Wendi also removed the oldest child's middle name, Amakai, which that name was a tribute to Dan's maternal grandmother. October of 2015, June Umchenda begins dating Charlie Adelson. February Okay, now we're going to move into 2016. Sorry. Thank you, guys. Oh, here, I'll take one little time out. Let me see what everyone's saying. Yeah, I think it was just one date. Yeah, June dated Obed. Well, that's how she met Charlie. Patty's Playhouse is here. Hey, Patty, good to see you. All righty. I'm going to keep going. Now we are in the year of 2016. February 25th of 2016, TPD releases more documents about Dan Markel's murder. On April 7th of 2016, this is when Judge Hankinson signs the wiretap access. Now we're going to get into the nitty gritty, right? On April 19th of 2016, this is when the FBI bump happens, right? It's on the street. We've all seen the video. If you haven't seen the video, it is available all over the place on YouTube. On this same day, I'll go into some details, but this is probably the two of us. This TV will be about 5. That's Donna talking to Charlie. Okay, overlap for a second. Okay, so on the 19th, the bump happens at 1:47 p.m. That's when the undercover guy, Sammy, we're just going to call him Sammy, he approaches Donna on the steps of the Icon. He gives her a piece of paper. It's a news article of Dan Markel. There's a phone number on it and $5,000 written on it. The undercover tells Donna his brother needs help. He mentions Katie and Tuto. His brother helped her family with their problem up north. And let me just say this. If you live in South Florida, it's so funny because when people say up north, they mean Tallahassee. But if you live up here in Tallahassee, you say up north, you're really meaning Northeast United States. Just whatever, side note. Okay. At 2:09 p.m., Donna calls Charlie. This is kind of details about the wiretaps. Donna calls Charlie. She's talking about the paperwork that's been hand delivered, right? She keeps basically saying, I need to see you. I need to see you. Charlie is relentless. He's asking so many questions. He asks her, does it involve him or others? And Donna's says, well, probably the both of us. They hang up. At 2:35 p.m., Charlie calls Donna back. And then they also discuss in this, Donna bringing cash for dinner. 3 p.m., Charlie calls Donna back and says that this is when Donna tells him the undercover mentioned an ex-girlfriend. And then Charlie asks what the letter is for. Donna replies, well, this TV is about 5. And then at 4:27 p.m., Charlie calls Katie and tells her what he knows so far. He asks her to meet him in person the next day. We're still on the 19th of April of 2016. At 6:07 p.m., Katie calls Charlie. And one of the important things to point out here is that Donna, when Donna's talking to Charlie, she never says Katie. She just says an ex-girlfriend. So just kind of want to. Sorry, some of these are my crazy notes. Okay. Okay. On the 20th of April of 2016, this is the Dolce Vita recording. This is the day that it happens. Earlier that day at 10:38 a.m., Charlie calls Katie and says that he's on his way to meet Donna at the Icon. At 1:00 p.m., Charlie meets Donna at the Icon. They go for a walk. They're near Monty's, kind of near the marina. The FBI cannot record anything that's happening, right? Because they're kind of secluded. We've all seen that picture of them sitting out on, a little tabletop. At 3:14 p.m., Charlie calls Katie. She's in the parking lot of the strip mall where Katie works at the realty office. This is the same shopping center that Dolce Vita is in. Okay. Dolce Vita recording with Charlie and Katie takes place between 3:45 and 4:45 on this date, the 20th. At 4:56 p.m., Charlie calls Donna, and he tells her he met a friend for coffee and everything's good. Okay. The next day, the 21st of April of 2016, this is the Matsuri meeting between Charlie and Harvey. At 8:17 a.m. that day, Katie calls Sigfredo and they're arguing. Sigfredo's like, I'm not making that fucking phone call. He's talking about calling the number, right? The number on the bump paperwork. But then later on in the conversation, he basically says, okay, he'll take care of the effing problem. He says, fucking problem. At 8:36 a.m. Okay, I apologize. My headphones just powered off. Okay. At 8:36 a.m., Katie calls Sigfredo again. She provides the phone number in a coded way, which it's so hilarious and funny. At 9:31 a.m., Charlie calls Katie and they talk about properties, good investment. This is all code talk. Talk about the pricing being too high. 8 p.m. is when Charlie meets Harvey at Matsuri. And they kind of get busted. The FBI is recording this meeting. Harvey does say, Katie agreed with you, and Charlie responds, yeah, like during this recording. But the FBI get kind of revealed, if you will. Like they basically, Harvey and Charlie think that the guy next to them is recording them. Okay. On the 23rd of April in 2016, the FBI sends like a follow-up bump letter to Harvey and Donna's home. And this is when that letter says, like, my phone is not ringing, so you don't care about Tato and what he did for you. He knows he is fucked, and soon so will you. And like, okay, that is so like gangster. On the 25th, and pardon my French, but that was quotes. On the 25th of April of 2016, a letter is received by Donna and Harvey. On this date at 7:04 p.m., Charlie calls Katie and says, meet me at Monty's the next day. Charlie's outside the Icon, and he tells her, I'm standing outside. He was talking to his parents about everything. This is when Katie will not go up into the Icon. I think that Katie is scared. At 7:33 p.m., Katie calls Charlie, says that she's arriving at Monty's. And we actually find out that in the 7:04 wiretap call on this date, Katie refers to her and Charlie having been talking on WhatsApp earlier. So not everything is on the wiretaps and the recordings because they're using WhatsApp. On April 26th of 2016 at 9:48 a.m., Sigfredo and Katie, they talk about the undercover number. At 4:34 p.m. on this day, on the 26th of April. Katie calls Charlie because she forgot the number. Charlie calls Donna. Donna doesn't have the number because she gave the bump paper to Charlie. I mean, it's a whole ripper-maroor, right? In the wiretaps. This is like the bumbling idiot type thing. 4:35, Charlie calls Katie and says he's going to be home soon and he's going to get the number for her. At 5:35 p.m. on this date is when Sigfredo calls Katie, and then Katie gives him the phone number because he says he's going to call the bump, which we know that never happens. On April 27th of 2016 at 12:25 p.m., Donna calls Charlie and says they, meaning Katie and Charlie says to Donna, they, meaning Katie and Sigfredo, they called the number, but no one's picked up. On April 28th of 2016, the undercover calls the Adelson Institute because no one has called the bump number yet, okay? No one has called that phone number. The undercover guy talks to Erica Johnson. I think Erica is spelled with a K. At 9:42 a.m., Charlie calls Donna. Donna tells Charlie during this wiretap call that the undercover, that the bump guy, right? They don't know it's undercover, but I'm just saying it's the undercover guy. That he's called the Adelson Institute. At 9:44 a.m. on this day, right? This is after the undercover FBI guy has called the Adelson Institute. Charlie tries to call Katie like 4 times right in a row. At 10:43 p.m., Katie calls Charlie back, and they discuss the undercover calling the office. This is a wiretap. Charlie says to Katie, this is when like it's quoted, like Charlie says, like, someone's messing with you, they're messing with me. Someone messing with me, they're messing with you. It's one and the same. And if you guys have, those wiretaps are available on, I know that Gigi from Pretty Lies and Alibis has the wiretaps. I don't know if Leslie ever published them, but I do know that they're available on Gigi's channel. But it's kind of funny. Someone messing with you, they're messing with me. And then he says it in reverse, like vice versa. So funny. Okay. And we're still on the 28th of April of 2016. At 11:17 a.m., Charlie calls Katie and he confirms that no one's contacted the undercover yet. Then at 11:33 a.m., this is the first person. It's Charlie. I think in other live streams that I've done or something, I think I've misspoken and said that Donna did, but it's Charlie. Charlie calls the undercover. This is the first person to call him. So, sorry, Emily. Okay. At 11:39 and 11:40, Charlie calls Katie. She doesn't answer. 12:41 p.m. Oh, sorry. There is a lot of back and forth calls going on after Charlie calls the bump guy. This is a lot. Not all of this is like, okay. There's just the bump calls are out there. I'm just kind of trying to move through a little bit. I hope everyone's okay. Thank you guys for being here, and thank you for being patient with me. Yeah, Charlie was thinking he's so tough. Hey, ain't no holla back, girl. Thank you for joining. Anyone else I'm missing? I appreciate you. Oh, CB McDI or D1, thank you for joining. Ruth Ann, I'm just trying to make sure I haven't missed anyone. If I have missed you, I apologize. Oh, my father's alibi, Allison. I see that she popped in. It might have been a while ago, but thank you for being here. Okay, continuing on. Okay, at 8:45 a.m. on the 29th of April of 2016, Charlie calls Katie. She tells him that she's going to take care of the situation, and they talk about later, like they have like all this code talk, right? Charlie calls Katie again later. This is when Katie says, this is when there's discussion about how Charlie has bought a GoPro for her husband, talking about Garcia. And then Katie's talking about the Ferrari. It's just it's a ridiculous. Katie is wanting more and more and more from Charlie. That's why I always say like the best thing that ever happened to Katie is actually getting arrested, because I don't think that she would have lasted much longer. I don't believe that the Adelsons allegedly, or in my opinion, I don't believe that the Adelsons were going to be paying Katie forever. Okay. Now I'm like just kind of saying this is like the bump number 4, because like the bump is literally a series of bumps, right? It's the bumping into Donna on the street. It's the letter to their home. It's calling the Adelson Institute. Now this is the text at 2:09 a.m. Text to Donna from the undercover bump guy. Donna calls Charlie and they agree to meet in person the next morning around 11:30 a.m. Okay. They meet at the pool area. Harvey is present, but the FBI cannot record anything. Okay. Then there's also Charlie saying, like, we need to just pay the $5,000. The sooner the better. Because I believe that they still don't realize that it's the police, the popo. I think that I believe that Katie thinks it's Luis, or, brothers of Luis doing this, because Luis is trying to get $5,000 out of Charlie and using Katie, or going through Katie for it. On May 6th of 2016, Donna calls the undercover. She talks to him for 8 minutes and 48 seconds. This is all recorded, right? She suggests him to go get the reward money if he knows everything. She does not know who's killed her former son-in-law. The undercover says to her, like, all I'm asking is for $5,000. Donna doesn't, it's not me. I had nothing to do with it. I've been stressed. Like, that whole like wiretap is hilarious. And at the end of the call, Donna says, I'll call you back. So it's not me to, I'll call you back. 11:17 p.m. on this date. This is the 6th of May in 2016. Charlie calls Donna. Donna tells him about the call with the undercover. She calls him a patient, right? Because they're trying to talk in code. She also tells Charlie that she used a recording app to record the call so Charlie can listen to it later. And then they agree to meet in person on the next day. So May 7th of 2016, at 5:07 p.m., Charlie calls Katie. They have this whole code talk. Charlie's talking about the new CD. He wants her to listen to it. Charlie talks about pot-belly pigs, which they're talking about the police, right? That's code for the police. And Katie says, oh, that's not good. Okay. On the 13th of May in 2016, we have 2 wiretap calls from Katie to Charlie. One is at 3:55 p.m. Katie calls Charlie. She's complaining about the Lexus, the one that she has acquired that used to be Harvey's. Charlie offers his Range Rover in this call for her to use. At 4:06 p.m., We're still on the 13th. Katie calls Charlie back. She complains about the cost of fixing the car. Charlie says he'll take care of the cost, or he's just going to have Sully work on it for free. That's his mechanic, the Sully guy. On May 16th of 2016 at 6:19 p.m., Charlie calls Katie. Katie's complaining again about the car not being properly repaired. She says it's the safety of my children. And then Charlie starts talking in code and says, no more patients are bothering him. And then Katie says, well, I'm doing my job. And then she says, will I get a raise soon? Charlie says he'll look into the budget. Charlie thanks her for going up there this weekend and straightening it up. Katie replies, I was just cleaning up. I'm still cleaning up. My job never ends. So that whole, if you get a chance, listen to that wiretap. It's a little, it's very flirtatious. So if Charlie was being extorted by this woman, he sure does like her a lot. Okay. Okay, now here's when we're getting into the nitty gritty, and the arrests are about to start happening. On May 24th of 2014, the FBI, they go to Sigfredo's work, and they Okay, I apologize. My headphones powered off again. That's why I'm trying to breeze through this. I don't know what's wrong with these things. Ugh. Okay, thank you, John Smith. I'm doing great. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it so much. Okay. On the 24th of May of 2016, FBI, they go to Sigfredo's work. They interview him. On the next day, May 25th, Sigfredo gets arrested. The day after that, the 26th of May, Judge Sjostrom grants the motion from TPD to seal the probable cause affidavit. And then Chief DeLeo, he was the Tallahassee Police Department chief at the time, he holds a press conference. On the next day, on the 27th of May, wiretaps between Donna and Charlie. Donna's telling Charlie that the day before, which she's talking about the 26th, Donna tells Charlie Wendi received information from her boss, who is Alberto Jordan in Miami. He's the federal appeals court judge in the 11th Circuit. She says he's spoken to a Tallahassee judge. Like, that is on wiretaps. So again, on May 27th of 2016, Donna is on a wiretap with Charlie and says, hey, yesterday Wendi talked to her boss and got information from him, and he's spoken to a Tallahassee judge. Okay. June 1st of 2016. Garcia gets booked into the Leon County Jail. Judge Terry Lewis is assigned to his case. The FBI visits the Adelson Institute on the same day with a subpoena for Katie's employment. Erica Johnson calls Charlie from the office, right? And she tells Charlie, like, she'll do whatever he says. And I think that Charlie says, okay, I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you from a different line, or I'm going to call you back from a different line. On June 2nd of 2016, Garcia has his first appearance, and that's in front of Judge William Gary. And Judge Gary is just there for first appearance. The same day, Judge Sjostrom enters an order vacating his own May 26th order to seal the probable cause affidavit. And so at this point, the PCA is unsealed. So the police theory is out. Luis Rivera is named in it, and the connections with the Adelsons are revealed. And Katie Magbanua's name is in it as well. On June 17th of 2016, the grand jury indicts Garcia and Rivera. On the 24th of June, Garcia pleads not guilty, and the state announces that they are seeking the death penalty. The 28th of June, Luis is extradited from federal prison that's Coleman, and he arrives at the Leon County Jail. 7/21/2016, so July 21st, we're about 3 weeks later. At 12:38 p.m., Charlie's attorney is talking to Sigfredo's attorney. That's David Oscar Marcus, and I think his name was Jim Lewis. I forgot the first name, but at the time, because we hear on wiretaps how Katie is talking to Sigfredo's attorney, Lewis. And then at some point, Lewis tells her, his last name is Lewis, and he tells her, like, we can't be talking anymore because you're mentioned in there, right? He doesn't want to get into a conflict situation. Okay. And I apologize for the small plane going overhead. Okay. August 4th of 2016, Leon County grand jury plans to reconvene in order to revisit the Dan Markel murder case. This is the same day that Wendi and Sarah Youssef are having emails. John Lauro, at this point in time, is publicly named as Wendi's lawyer. However, she had acquired him before this date. On August 29th of 2016, the state releases Wendi's videotaped interview with Isom. And then I'm most certain that Mentor Lawyer was the first one to post it on YouTube with edits. Okay. On September 8th of 2016, Luis Rivera, he demands a speedy trial. It's set for 10/24/2016. Okay, this is kind of important. On September 30th of 2016, this is when Wendi's clerkship ends with Judge Alberto Jordan in Miami. Okay, he's a federal judge. She was on, like, basically the federal fiscal year, right? Which is October 1 through September 30th of every year. So her employment is just ending. That's her clerkship. And for those of you who don't know or don't remember, 15 years earlier in 2001, and let me go down real quick, only because, okay, Wendi interned for Judge Alberto Jordan when he was a federal judge for the U.S. District of the Southern District in Florida. So she was with him twice, 15 years apart, meaning not with him, but you know what I'm saying. She worked for him, if you will, once in an internship, and then 15 years later in this year-long clerkship. Okay. So her clerkship ends on September 30th. The very next day, on October 1st of 2016, Katie Magbanua is arrested in Broward County. Give me one quick minute. I have a dog scratching. Hold on real quick. Oh. Oh. You guys, I just realized I have not been ever since I played my song. I'm not resharing my. Oh no. I apologize. I just realized I was not resharing that. Okay. Um I'm so sorry. That was after my song, y'all. It's been a minute. You're just gonna. Oh, you didn't hear any planes? Okay, well, that's good. Okay. Oh, well, okay. I'm going to keep moving on. I don't know how long it's been that I haven't been sharing it. I apologize. I know it was after my song, so whatever. Remember, I tell everyone I'm not a professional YouTuber and I'm not an attorney or a psychologist. I'm just a regular person. Okay. So, October 1st of 2016, Katie's arrested. And we all know that she pees her pants. She's driving the Lexus when she's arrested. And I'm sorry. I know that that might be gross or mean, but she's a murderer. So it is what it is. On October 4th of 2016, this is when Luis Rivera's proffer takes place at the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Luis Rivera takes the plea deal. He is represented by public defender Chuck Collins, and Chuck has been on Judy's channel twice, AA Legal Focus, 2 great interviews. Chuck Collins is certified for death penalty cases as a public defender. His partner is his dad, David Collins, and David Collins is the one that is in the video of Luis Rivera's proffer. It's not Chuck, it's his dad, David. But that's because Chuck, along with Luis, the FBI, they were all out looking for the bridge the night before, right? So obviously Chuck is home sleeping in that proffer. Chuck Collins did tell Judy at A Legal Focus he was paid a $25,000 flat fee to represent Luis Rivera. Luis Rivera pleads guilty. He's found guilty of second-degree murder. He is sentenced to 19 years, running concurrently with his federal sentence. And he also gets 3 years supervision after he gets out. And currently, right now, I do have the paperwork. I've shown it in my videos. He has a release date of August 16th, 2035. I have found him. Actually, I might be away. I have found him in the Bureau of Prisons, but you're not going to find him under his name. You have to have his inmate number. But yeah, it's even on the Bureau of Prisons. His release date is 8/16 of 2035, which is literally 6 weeks shy of exactly 19 years from this October 4th plea deal of 2016. Okay. On October 10th of 2016, Katie is transported to the Leon County Jail. Now we're going to jump forward to 2019. I'm not going to go through all the stuff that happened with all the okay. We're moving forward, okay? On September 26th of 2019, Sigfredo, Tuto, and Sigfredo Garcia and Katie Magbanua, their joint trial begins. On October 11th, the jury finds Sigfredo guilty of murder and conspiracy, not guilty of solicitation. And we all know at that point in time, there's a hung jury for Katie, Katherine Magbanua. On April, okay, so Katie's retrial gets postponed a lot. COVID happens, right? We're like literally 2.5 years later. Charlie Adelson gets arrested on April 25th of 2022. It's 6 years and 6 days after the bump. Okay. It is what it is. I know people might be upset about that, but I'm just pointing that out. Okay. On May 18th of 2022, Katie's retrial begins. And then we know that on May 27th of 2022, this is when she is found guilty of murder, conspiracy, and solicitation. Then a couple of months later in July, I think it's like late July, she gets sentenced to life plus 30 plus 30, right? So it's literally life plus 60 years. On November 6th of 2023, and I didn't put the details in there on Charlie's trial. Charlie is found guilty of murder and conspiracy and solicitation. He's sentenced to the same life without the possibility of parole. They call it LWOP. And 30 for conspiracy plus 30 for solicitation. So life plus 60. And then we all know exactly 1 week later, and I'm going to do a follow-up video at some point in time with all of the details around everything that happened between Charlie's conviction up through Donna's conviction. But just right now, some dates to keep in mind. Charlie gets found guilty on November 6th of 2023, exactly 1 week later. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I'm sorry. That's why I'm trying to get through this. Okay. Exactly 1 week later, on the 13th of November of 2023, Donna Adelson gets arrested at the Miami airport, and it's for the murder of Dan Markel. In September of 2024, her trial is postponed. She needs new counsel. On September 4th of 2025, Donna's found guilty of murder, conspiracy, solicitation. And then we know in October of 2025, she's sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, plus 30, plus 30. So life plus 60. Just a side note, because when we talked about the May 27th, 2016 wiretap call where Donna tells Charlie that yesterday her boss spoke to her boss, the judge, Adalberto Jordan in Miami, spoke to a Tallahassee judge. We do not know exactly who it is, but there's a connection. Both and I don't know, and I'm let me just preface by saying this. I believe that Judge Jonathan Shostrom is a really good person. Everybody really likes him. So I can't see him doing anything like negatively. However, he might have inadvertently provided information unknowingly. That's what I believe. But the connection between Miami and Tallahassee in regards to judges is Adalberto Jordan and Judge Shostrom. They both work for Steele, Hector, and Davis. It's a Miami law firm. Both were lawyers there before they ever became judges. Judge Shostrom, he became the chief judge. He's no longer the chief judge now, but he became the chief judge July 1st of 2015 here in the circuit, Second Circuit of Florida up here in Tallahassee. He went to both FSU for his undergrad and FSU law. He was a partner he worked for Steele, Hector, and Davis between 1989 and 2002, and he was a partner there before he left and went into and became a judge. Adalberto Jordan, he's originally from Havana, Cuba. He has a BA from the University of Miami. He graduated in 1984. He graduated University of Miami Law in 1987. Steele, Hector, and Davis, he worked for them between 1989 and 1994. between 1999 and 2012, he was a federal judge for the U.S. District of the Southern District of Florida. And in that time frame, remember 2001 is when Wendi interned with him. And then in February of 2012 to current, today, he is the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit of Florida. And Wendi did her clerkship with him between October 1st of 2015 through September 30th of 2016. All right. Woo. How's everyone doing? Okay, that was a lot. I thank you everyone for being here. Hey, Patricia Burns, I see you arrived. Hey, Murder by Maestro, good to see you. Okay, everyone, I apologize for not showing my stuff. After I took that break and played my song, I forgot to share. But that's okay. It's okay. So I will do another one. I'm probably going to change the title and just say like up through Charlie's conviction, because so much more has happened between November 6th of 2023 and current. And I definitely like to do another like timeline and be very specific on stuff. And I really appreciate everyone for being here. I have been on for a while. I played my song in the very beginning. Oh, thanks, Patty. Patty's Playhouse says she's going to send me. Thank you. That would be awesome. She's going to send me the real estate timeline when she rented Aqua Ridge and when the lease ended. Then they went to the continuum. Yes, thank you. Yes, and again, I don't claim to be an expert. I'm sure I've left some things out. I probably have missed a couple details. Okay, thank you, Debbie. Debbie's going to re-listen. Okay, thank you so much. So, I'm sure I left stuff out. I actually realized that I left some things out. And if you were here from the beginning, I did talk about how like I had transcribed my notes into like several different, because I do a lot of like talking and voice to text type stuff, and then I'll email it to myself, and then I'll have to like go in and edit and punctuate. So, and sometimes I'm just like talking to myself. So then you see all other kinds of language. Which when Leslie B, Grish and I, when we did a live stream, and then we were talking about the judge to judge connection, and we brought up like I had like not personal notes, but like my thought type notes on that. And I'm like talking about one particular judge. He had like really no hand in anything in regards to Dan Markel case. Okay. But he was, there for one of the first appearances. Like I made some comments about so yeah. Well, I really appreciate everyone for being here. And I'm sure I've left out, so I like realize that I've left out some details and everything, but try to do my best. And so I hope you all enjoyed it. Yeah. Oh, Steph, I have to tell. Okay, so Steph sells stuff by the seashore. She has a YouTube channel. So I was working. There was a really bad storm yesterday afternoon. I'm sorry, last night, not yesterday afternoon, like last night, there was a really bad storm and all the power went out, and it was crazy. We literally got like warnings like alerts on my phone, but the alert was about an hour before it ever hit. The power went out. So I was up like trying to get a lot of this like all together until about 3 o'clock in the morning. And Steph, I looked on YouTube real quick and I saw that you were live doing a sale. Steph is a thrifter. But I was like, no, I can't get distracted. I cannot go on her channel because I knew I'd start like talking to everybody and get distracted. Because Steph sells stuff by the seashore. She is on the West Coast. She's in San Diego area. And I do believe that Steph is the one that got the one dress Wendi gray trial dress to Jackie St. Germain. But okay, well, thank you everyone for being here. I'm sure I left out some details. I'm sure I've missed something, but I appreciate everyone. And at some point in time, I will continue on. Steph. Okay, so Steph is the one that Jackie St. Germain got the one dress Wendi, or I call it one dress Wendi. Okay, so I am going to go, and right before I go, you guys, I'm going to play my song again because I don't know, I kind of think it's catchy. But thanks again for being here, and you guys have a really great day. And just remember, today, 12 years ago today, like Dan Markel was gunned down in his garage by 2 hitmen hired by the South Florida Adelson crime family. And thanks again. Thanks again for being here.
She traded in the blonde blowout for a curly flame. Walked out the salon with a brand new name. Different signature, different shade of blue. Whispers all around said, we all know it's you. Chameleon smile with an innocent glow. The facade behind the door swung open slow. She never heard the word no for long. Deceit and spite kept carrying on. Mama made the phone calls, brother tried to keep it clean. Polished every headline till it barely could be seen. Silk gloves hiding fingerprints nobody could ignore. Truth kept knocking behind the locked door. New hair, new name, same old game. Changing every picture but the story stays the same. Diamonds in the daylight, secrets after dark. Trying to outrun the echo of a single spark. She's living like a queen, soon to be on the lam. She can't pretend all she wants, but she don't give a damn. You can paint the skyline, rewrite every frame, but you can't fool forever with new hair, new name. She could fool the room with a sideways glance. Turn a business meeting into a a slow dance. Every favor will come with a price. The ones who protected her, they rolled the dice. One by one they have fallen, locked up in a cell. Who will come to save her? Will they ever tell? Shaking her hair, changing her name. She cannot outrun justice, she's part of the chain. Gold in her ears, pearls on her neck, but deep down she's a wreck. Everything she wanted did not come for free. She ruined so many lives, even her own family. Justice walks slowly, gossip runs fast. Some stories fade, but some outlast. Mirrors don't forget what's behind the disguise, even if colored contacts tell beautiful lies. A new hair, new name, same old shame. Running from the smoke, but remembering the blame. Fundraisers and parties can't erase the night. Truth keeps shining through, even in the dimmest light. Fortunes may protect you for a little while. She may be dressed up in a perfect smile. Curtains always fall at the end of every play. You can change your look, but the truth won't fade away. She changed her face, the world came to see. But she never could change his memory.